Welcome to Education in the Community. I am your host, Pastor Robert L. Mcknight, and as my guest today, we have Miss Lora Sall. We will do part 2 of the importance of self-knowledge. Thank you for co-hosting today with us.
Thank you.
When we were together on the last show, we had said we needed a part 2. We were just getting into the essence of the importance of self-knowledge.
Yes.
And that it is the most important knowledge of all, because we have come to agreement that unless one have knowledge of self, then you do not know what to do with knowledge outside of yourself. That knowledge then dictates the illusion of your identity.
Yes.
And not only are you of no value to your own self, your family, or your community, because in the words of the late Dr. Carter G. Woodson in The Miseducation of the Negro, you can no longer identify yourself with being like others who look identical to you, because you have taken on alien culture and you have replaced it have taken it as your own culture. And Dr. Naeem Akbar says in his book, Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery, that if you want to oppress a people and you want to keep them in an oppressed state, you do not need to have military force. All you need to do is to prevent them from practicing their own culture and then substituting it with an alien culture that devalues and do not recognize and respect their culture. And they will come to take on those same values. And this leads, he says, to self-hatred.
Mm-hmm. So the most powerful tool in the hands of the oppressor are the minds of the oppressed.
On the minds of the oppressed.
Yes.
Steve Biko, who was a revolutionary in South Africa during the apartheid reign. And his job, through the use of the pen, his writing, was to free the minds, to free the spirit of the people.
Yes.
And this is what made him such a threat to that regime.
Yes.
Because he wanted to free the minds of the people. In this area, in the 60s, during that period of social upheaval, rebellion, there was an adage that said, if you free your mind, that's right, your anatomy would follow.
Yes.
But you had to first free the mind.
Yes.
Before you could enjoy physical and political freedom.
Mm-hmm. Yes. We were speaking earlier about how progressive everything is today and how fast change is taking place because of technology. But at the same time, we need to hold on to those basic knowledge of self and our history and bring it forward with that technology in order to continue to grow. Otherwise, that technology will take over and we will no longer have that humanity that existed when we were growing up, having that connection to one another and that connection to the community and that connection to our families and that love for who we are.
It is, again, going back to the understanding and the appreciation and the connection with one's origin that maintains that humanity.
Yes.
The technology is great. I don't want to go back to the rotary telephone
Yes.
and to put in a dime in the public phone.
Right.
I want my cell phone.
Yes.
And I don't want to go back to having to send a telegram, go to Western Union and send a telegram. I want my email.
Yes.
So if I want to send someone a message, I don't even need the email. I want to be able to send them a text because I know they're going to get it right away.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of benefit to technology, but you do not sacrifice your humanity for the benefit of technology.
Absolutely.
You do not allow technology to replace your creativity that God has given you as a co-creator, that you have to now gain everything from an outside source, not your own ideas, but you search all over the world to find something that you are capable of producing yourself if you had not become dependent upon technology. And then I saw recently that one of the reasons for so many pedestrian automobile fatalities, and they show people walking and texting, walk right out in front of a bus, of a car, hooked up to their cell phone or to some other technological device, to where they are taken out of reality.
Yeah.
And then the driver may also be connected, trying to read an email, trying to talk on the cell phone at the same time. And so we become unaware of the presence of human beings in our immediate environment.
Disconnected.
We become disconnected from each other because we are now connected into not reality, but a virtual reality.
Absolutely.
And it prevents us from identifying with reality.
Yeah. So it's important that we hold on to that humanity and hold on to the technology, but have knowledge of that history that made us so special in our humanity. So when I think about growing up in the 60s and the 70s and the 50s and those times when our neighbors looked out for the children from the neighborhood and our neighbors were connected to each other, where we even looked out for the drunk on the corner. We looked out for the woman that was prostituting herself, but she had food because somebody was going to take her some food in spite of how they felt about her behavior or what she was doing. They saw her humanity and they cared enough about her to not want her hungry on the street. Okay. And so we need to somehow hold on to that part of who we are in the midst of connecting to other people around the world with our technology.
Now, it's sort of vicarious, but it's still connected. Malcolm X said that history is a people's memory. And without memory, man is demoted to the lower animals.
Mm-hmm.
So history and this self-knowledge is how we connect to one another.
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne Smith, brilliant young man. I want to recommend the book to the audience. You have to find it online. The Nubian, a novel by Dwayne, D-U-A-N-E, Smith. And in this novel, where he leads his nephew through the character Derek, through a rites of passage. Mm-hmm. Derek, instructing Manny, his nephew, tells him that a man without an appreciation has no identity. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't have an identity, that means you don't know who you are. Mm-hmm. Ron Johnson, who was the first one to begin to talk about the rites of passage and develop a program for it. Mm-hmm. Culture is one of the rites of passage. Mm-hmm. And he says that if you do not have knowledge of your culture, you will never have an understanding of yourself. With one does not have an understanding of their culture, they will never understand who they are. And the reason I bring these out when we talk about valuing people in our community, at the 16th Avenue Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, there were so many bombings of churches and homes until they used to call it Birmingham, Alabama. And then there was a Sunday, during Sunday school, before the main service. And these 4 little girls were killed in Sunday school. The church was bombed. And so, of course, this became not only national, but international news.
Yes.
Movement grew. It brought in people. Everyone was appalled that someone would bomb a church on a Sunday morning, the house of God, killing 4 little innocent children. We talked about that for years, and how there was a need to bring the responsible parties to justice. I saw on the internet, and then later heard something, just a bit piece about it on the news, that last weekend outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, some young people were having a cookout, and 2 young, lost black males opened fire on what obviously was a group of majority of women. They shot and killed 4 women, I think it was, 3 or 4, 3 women and 1 man. I stand to be corrected, but I know a minimum of 3 women. 1 was expecting, and the fetus. And they had to know them in order to target them. And there was great planning in it, and they said one fired a handgun in order that the others would try to run in the other direction, and when they ran in the other direction, the other young man opened up with an assault weapon and shot them in the head. So this was a deliberate act. 4 women and the child unborn. Wow. And it's not even a topic of concern. We run around here talking about Black Lives Matter. Hypocritical. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah.
Because we need to be there protesting that.
Yeah.
Being on the street.
Yes.
To bring them to justice.
Absolutely.
And the reason we can do this and then others excuse it is because we have no knowledge of self.
Yes.
No appreciation of culture.
And
nothing binds us together.
And no connection to the fact that here was a community event, a group of people right there at a park coming together at a home, coming together to have a barbecue and feel no connection to the people that they were shooting, not even the unborn child. And so when people can get to that place to where they don't feel connected to the people around them anymore, they're liable to do just about anything. And that's why pulling that trigger was so easy for the parties, the people that were shooting the people at the gathering, but also they felt no connection to the people they killed. And that says a lot about where we are. And the more this technology continues to grow, the fact that people can sit on their cell phones and communicate on cell phone, texting each other, sitting right next to each other. At some point, you're losing that connection to that humanity because you got to use the cell phone instead of just turning and talking.
Yes.
Okay? And so, yes, we have this possibility, this available to us so we can sit and have a conversation.
Yes.
But soon, this is going to go away because people won't have time to look at what's on TV or what's on camera. They're going to go to their cell phones to see what someone is saying.
Yes.
Okay? Rather than sitting down and just having a nice Sunday dinner and having a conversation across the table, maybe having those moments where all technology is turned off. Once a week, 1 hour a day, just turn it off and turn and talk to somebody.
Turn within and spend some time. It is said that the body is the temple of the living God, and the Spirit of God dwelleth therein.
Yes.
That greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
Yes.
That now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above and beyond all you ask, imagine, or think, according to the power that works in you, we have this awesome presence within us.
Yes.
But we have allowed for a disconnect.
Oh, yeah.
You see, technology cannot give you lasting, everlasting power. Yes. You already have the source within you, and you are looking to find it outside of you. So the more we are taken away from self, not to mention others within our immediate environment, the more we lose any type of feelings toward humanity.
Yes.
It does not count. You got to know who you are, because it says the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. Next to it is to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And God knows there are people I see, I don't want them to love me as evident that they love themselves. No, that's all right.
Yes.
So you have to spend some time first with yourself.
Yes.
How much time do we spend with ourselves? And we understand from a psychological perspective that the first 10 minutes of your day will determine what the rest of your day, the other 23 hours and 50 minutes, will be like. So the first 10 minutes of the day, we should spend with ourselves in meditation, in prayer, some type of meditative reading. Otherwise, you're going to be disconnected from your essential self for the rest of the day.
Now that's interesting, because so often when the first thing people do when they wake up is grab the cell phone, turn it on, and see what's happening on Facebook or Twitter, what emails they received. They don't want to deal with what's happening in here. Or else they turn on the TV and see what's happening on the news and getting all of that negativity fed into themselves. And so you're talking about some major challenges for people to spend 10 minutes a day with self. How would they do that?
Just sit down and organize your thoughts.
Okay.
And if you don't have it, to review it before you go to bed and review it in the morning. What are my priorities for this day?
Okay.
You see, to be in touch with yourself, it's what gives you power to function. Because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. According to the power that works in you. You can't function in this world and try and compete with the world powers. They're overwhelming.
And
but you have a greater power than the world power in you. Here's where your self-confidence come in.
Imagine had the perpetrators, the people who shot those 4 women, imagine how their lives would have been different had they spent 10 minutes
10 minutes
with themselves that morning before deciding to pick up that gun and go and shoot at a gathering of human beings who are there to just show love to one another. 10 minutes might have made a big difference in how the rest of their lives would have gone.
That's right. And we do not value, I like this, our self-worth. And I'm going to have to paraphrase it if he's watching this. I'm going to apologize to Dr. Andrew Billingsley. Used to be at the University of California. I think he chaired the Department of Sociology. But he wrote a book in the 80s, I think, entitled Black Families in White America. And he said, the family is the most basic institution of any people. It is the center and the source of all this civilization. That within the intimate context of the family, individuals develop their concepts of themselves, their values, and their worth in relation to the others in their world. So without the family, where are we going to develop our self-concept, our values, and our sense of self-worth? It is rooted in the family.
Wow. And you know, wow,
And how
that's
we
a big challenge.
live in a civilized society if the family is the center and source of civilization? Here is how we learn to interact with each other. You can't do that without a family. That is what is suggested in that quote.
I think that's very true. Even today, where the family looks different from what it once looked.
Yes.
I think that statement, that quote, is still very important.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
just because you have single family homes, just because you might have a different appearance of that family, doesn't mean those values have to be lost.
No, they should never be lost, but they can be ignored.
I agree.
Yeah, they can be ignored. It is there.
Yes.
It's in the DNA. But you
Okay.
can choose to ignore them.
Okay.
What we have to do now is do Sankofa.
Okay. Take them back.
Take them back
Yes.
to regain that egg, that essence of who we are as we move forward,
Okay.
so that we can understand this abnormal and abominable and objectionable behavior that we are witnesses is alien to our original, our indigenous culture, to where we valued humanity,
Yes.
we valued life, we valued freedom.
Yes.
Whereas we were talking earlier, where black love represents black wealth, and so you can never be in poverty as long as you have love. As a matter of fact, as long as you have family,
Yes.
and as long as you have love, this is your support system. And you can do anything. You just say to the world, bring it on. I'm going to love you, and I have my family to keep me strong.
There you go. And it's still in our DNA.
It is still present, but
Yes.
we must teach it, we must pass it on to the next generation.
Absolutely.
To the next generation. Now, as we approach this time, do you have a closing comment?
Once again, I want to say that is in the DNA, is very possible to use it today and take it forward to tomorrow.
Well, thank you very much. And until next time, we will begin to tell you so long. But I want to share with you again that you look for that book, The Nubian by Dwayne Smith. And then you go all the way back to the past and get some firsthand knowledge of what he's talking about. And purchase that book, The Miseducation of the Negro, by Dr. Carter G. Woodson. And last, The Destruction of Black Civilization by Dr. Chancellor Williams. And so we will see you next time. Yeah, thank you.